The summer anime season is at our doorstep, and at the time of this video, I am sweating like hell from how hot it is. The spring season this year was absolutely incredible, with a bombastic lineup that satiated the community for weeks on end. As 2B Hero X led the charge, MHA Vigilantes, Apocalypse Hotel, Gundam, Yaiba, and so many more series kept me coming back almost every day for my next viewing. At this point, the year has kicked into overdrive, and we are steadily making our way to the peak. As we look ahead, we've got a mix of everything you should expect. Continuations, debuts, returning seasons, all of which are looking to be quality. Once again, I've narrowed down my choices, and so without further delay, here are my picks for everything that I believe you should be watching for Summer of Anime 2025. To kick things off, we're starting with our continuations. Going into the summer season, both To Be a Hero X and Anne Shirley will be continuing on, as they are both 24 episode seasons. As I have recently talked about To Be a Hero X, I heavily advise everyone to check out the anime, and for those who have been watching Anne Shirley, be sure to stick around for the second half of the adaptation. Dr. Stone will also be coming back with its second core of its final act adaptation. This is going to continue pretty much all the way through, and expect the final portion to probably come out at the beginning of next year. Yaiba will also be continuing on, as it seeks to have a full anime adaptation. In short, make sure to keep pace with everything I've mentioned. Moving into our main lineup, we're gonna start with our batch of season 2s, beginning with Kaiju number 8. Season 1 was very well done, both with the action and presentation, despite the initial character design complaints. At this point, I feel people have come to terms with it and are going to enjoy the show regardless. Now in the pursuit of Kaiju number 9, we're getting some new characters and a whole lot more before we enter our next major battle. Simply put, more of what was already doing good, and as such will be kicking off in July. Next up, Dress Up Darling has finally returned with its second season. 3 years later, after the explosive popularity of season 1, our cosplaying duo is back. This has also been an interesting year for the series as well, given the manga wrapped up not too long ago. While the series is definitely no long runner, it is something that I hopefully can assume that we can still enjoy. The team at Cloverworks is still handling everything, and hopefully they can bring back the bar they have set for themselves once more. Moving along, after the very abruptly placed ending of season 1, Dandadan is back with season 2. Just to put it out there, but you can definitely tell that season 1 was supposed to be 2 cores, but obviously plans changed and things got broken up into 2 seasons now. However, the team over at Science Saru had the entire world in a grip last year, especially after the devastatingly emotional episode of Acrobatic Silky. This core, we're dealing with Gigi and the Evil Eye Spirit being one of the most fan-animated sections of the story I've seen for years now for how popular the fight is. I sincerely doubt that this will be anything short of a fantastic time, and thus we will be there on time, with season 2 kicking off on July 3rd. Now this time around, I actually have 2 shows that I am deeming a must-watch for this season, with the first being one of the long-awaited adaptations with The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. This story is one of my favorites of all time, not only being in my top 10 manga, but I have talked about it quite a bit on the channel now, and we finally have the anime coming from Cloverworks. This is easily one of the best romance stories in the last 10 years, as Saka Mikami's writing is one of the types that refuses to peak, but instead continues to raise the bar. A story tackling all sorts of challenges and bonds among the youth, as Rentaro and Karuko finally bring their relationship for the world to view. I don't care if you are not a fan of romance anime, by the time you are done with this show, your mind will be changed. I've set my expectations, and as such, be on the lookout for the anime to kick off in July as well. Looking at a season 4, the Shield Hero is back once more, this time diving into some family matters across the seas. I'll be honest and say that for the most part, Shield Hero regained some massive ground from an adaptation perspective with season 3, after a very rough season 2. I understand that a lot of people may not ever come back to the story, but I believe that season 3 showed how well it can hold up without the revenge plotline. Whether or not that will remain the same in the nation of Kyuten Low will be something to be decided, but nevertheless, I am recommending it, and if you're somebody who dropped it after season 2, the 3rd season might just get you back for a 4th. As for my final choice in terms of returning series, Call of the Night is finally back as well with its 2nd season. This was a very well received anime back in 2015 2022, and I'm glad it finally came back before I ended up caving and reading the manga. The nightlife has never looked this good, and towards the end of season 1, conflict began to enter the show, as a human being mixed up with vampires is never an easy thing. Even so, a little bit of violence never stops anyone, and as such, we will be back for season 2 with the vibes hopefully being maintained. From here on out, we're moving into a heap of debuts, with the first choice being my second most anticipated anime this season that I am dictating a must-watch with Gachiakuta by author Kei Urana. When My Hero Academia ended, this series and Fragrant Flower became two of my most enjoyed manga. Coming from Bones Film is the story of Rudo and his journey to survive in a hell surrounded by trash after falsely being accused of murder. To enact his revenge, he's gonna have to team up with those who managed to survive below the surface, aka the Cleaners, if he has any hope of finding the true culprit. I'm gonna tell you right now that Gachiakuta is a series that is far beyond a revenge plot. Without spoiling anything, this story has a lot of world building that turns it from something that may seem simple into a game of chess with multiple moving pieces that will eventually converge at one point. I'm very much vouching for the series, and if you all happen to need a content creator for the upcoming weekly coverage, feel free to check out Domo Senpai, who covers the series with great integrity. This is definitely the shonen world's next big thing, post Dandadan, but before Kagurabachi makes way. I promise you, you do want to be there, and hopefully season 1 absolutely crushes it. Next up, bringing us back into the world of horror, we have The Summer Hikaru Died. After the disappointing result that was the Uzumaki anime, this story seems to be a gem waiting to be unearthed through its anime adaptation. By its synopsis, it has some ideas that resemble Summertime Rendering a bit in the sense that something has taken over the character Hikaru's body and that Toshiki will have to confront it. Now, I do want to take a moment and say that this story is a queer story, but it is not a boys' love series. As stated by the author, they would phrase it as a youth horror, tackling the fear of not being normal and having a place to belong, which is a common belief shared by all types of people regardless of demographic. Hence why the author has stated that from the beginning, they never tried to position it as a love story. With that being said, I hope people can have the mature and open-minded understanding of what messages and themes are in motion in relation to the many real-life struggles society is working through now. I'm setting aside room for this to be the dark horse of the season, so make sure to keep an eye out for this series on Netflix. Now, continuing the streak of great Chinese animation, we have The Lord of the Mysteries. I may not personally know anything about this series, but what I can say is that this is certainly on the radar for a lot of people. Between the supernatural elements and a time period that gives off Moriarty the Patriot, it's evident that this one looks like it'll be a very good time. Quite frankly, I'm all for a good mystery series, and it's safe to say that To Be Hero X won't be the only Chinese animation to make some noise this year, and hopefully you all tune in for it. It's rare that we have an original movie series, and coming from Yasuomi Umetsu, known for Mazor Forte and Monogatari, comes Virgin Punk. There are some very interesting details about this project coming to life, as from my understanding, it's been in the oven since the conclusion of 2014's Wizard Barristers. I don't think I need to try and sell this one too hard. We've got a great team behind it, bounty hunters, badass characters, and a story that looks to be coming for a long haul. Keep in mind, however, that because this is a film, it will probably take a little time for it to come to America, but for the time being, if the trailer looks interesting to you, then keep it on your radar. Safe to say, I will be purchasing a ticket, and for a good change of pace, hopefully you will be too. As for my final two choices, years later, with the immense amount of hoping and coping, the gods known as Studio Trigger has delivered the return of the new Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. If you don't know what this is, go ahead and click off my video, go find the show, and watch the English dub. This series was an absolute hit back when it first came out, and with all the foul language and hilarious behavior upon our doorstep, I promise you, you will be hearing about this all season long, as people have been waiting almost 15 years. Not to mention, this is a Trigger show, and when do these ever tend to disappoint, especially when a lot of the original team is back to finish what they started. If you haven't seen it, then this is your sign to get started. Finally, coming from Kyoto Animation, we have the surprise that grabbed the anime community's attention quickly with City the Animation. Coming from the same author of Nichijou is another adaptation of, well, the city. All sorts of characters and their daily lives brought to life, reminding us why slice of life is truly a special type of anime. Everything about the trailer is very appealing from the colors to the art, and I expect a lot of good talk about the production of the series as the level of drawing power in this show looks to be incredibly high. As such, I'm going to label this one as the gem of the season, as I have no doubt it will live up to the quality it's setting itself up to be. City the Animation will be kicking off on July 7th. With that will bring me to the end of my list. Please keep in mind that my lists are subjective and to not take this as the absolute truth. I know there are plenty of other series like Grand Blue, Tougen Anki, and even Bunny Girl Senpai that people will be watching, and as you should. This is simply what I have personally picked out, and hopefully some of our ideas overlap. Of course, let me know everything you plan to watch in the comment section down below, and with that will bring me to the end of this video. As always, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to discussing the summer season, and hopefully it will keep the momentum going. Be well out there until we meet again in the fall 2025 watch list.